Hey guys, come here. I've got Nola here today, and she's going to help me tell you guys what to do when your relationship feels boring. Hi, can you say hi, Nola? So we've all been there. We get a couple months or a couple years into the relationship, and things really start to feel boring. So I thought I'd go through some of the tips that I give my relationship clients when they're struggling in their existing relationships. And this could actually be applicable for friendships. It doesn't have to be romantic. Number one, ask yourself, what is my lowest point of satisfaction? That really helps you get down to the bottom of what am I most struggling with at this time. So it kind of helps you prioritize where you're feeling the most issues. So just focusing on the one that's bugging you the most is going to be the most beneficial. So start with that. And then ask yourself what you can do to address that. You might know exactly what to do, but maybe you're not listening to yourself for whatever reason. So I would ask yourself what your lowest area of satisfaction is, and then try and devise a plan to get out of it. One of the things I might say to do would be, if you feel like you guys don't spend enough quality time together, figure out a plan to address that need and how you can fix it. And if it's something you can't fix, that's where you might want to bring a life coach in, or go see a therapist or a relationship counselor. Number two, see if it's you or them. Sometimes when we spend a lot of time with people, it can be easy to make assumptions that the person that we're spending time with is the reason that we're unhappy. Let's try this again. Sit down. So sometimes when you've been with someone for a long time, it's easy to assume that the things that they're doing are annoying you and that's what's causing issues in your relationship. But it may actually be stemming from somewhere else. Maybe you're really unsatisfied with your job, or you're fighting with a friend, and it seems to happen in every comedy. The main character loses everything all at once because they lose their job, they get in a fight with their best friend, then they're being snarky with their family members, and so just their whole life feels like it's falling apart. And I think that's applicable in a lot of relationships, that when something is going wrong, it's hard for us to be compassionate toward the people that we love. And a good example of that might be, you're probably a lot less empathetic toward other people's complaining when you're sick. So like, if I feel like crap and let's say my husband comes home and he's like, I had a really bad day, I'm probably going to be less likely to be like, oh baby, what do you need me to do? How can I help? And I might be like, I don't have it in me to support you right now. So the reason I say that is because if you take the time to step back and ask yourself, is it something they're doing? Or is it an outside force? I think that could shed a lot of light into why you're feeling the way that you are feeling. So if it's them, you need to, I feel like I just had a thought and I went in a bubble and floated away by thought. I don't remember what I was saying, so crap. Number three, do you have different values than the person that you're thinking of? For the rest of this video, I'm just going to talk as if it's a romantic relationship. If you feel like you have different morals and just totally different ways of viewing the world, that can turn into a lot of dissatisfaction in the fact that it always seems to be an uphill battle to understand one another. And so you're either going to be fighting, or you're going to be like, I do not have enough in common with this person. If you're my client, I'm going to ask you what you want. Part of my job as a life coach is actually not to tell you what to do. I'm actually not there to give you advice. I'm there to help you figure out what you want, and then devise a plan, and then hold you accountable to that plan. So if you come to me and you say, I really want to end this relationship. I actually just had a client like this. I want to end this relationship. We've been together for 6 years, but it's not heading anywhere. I don't want to marry him. He wants it. And every time I think about it, I feel like this weight on my shoulders. And she's like, I need to do it, but I've been trying to break up with him for 2 years, and it's just not happening. So her and I came up with a plan together to figure out a loving way that she could do that. And then on the other hand, I might have a client that's like, we're totally different, but I know we could have a great relationship if we can just get past these hurdles. And so then we work through how to manage that. And that's something where it's such a case-by-case basis. I would recommend talking to someone, because there isn't necessarily like advice I can give, because every relationship is so different. But generally speaking, if you have different values, I would start with talking to them about that and seeing if there's a common ground, because there usually is something that you can settle on, that you can agree on. So number 4, do you guys have the same goals? So the last one I was talking about, morals and values. This one is talking about, do you guys want the same things out of life? If you feel bored in your relationship, a lot of times people feel that way because they're being called by attraction to another person who feels more aligned with what they're looking for. So to give an examples, because I just like giving examples from my own life, because I think that it helps drive points home. For me, I always knew I was ready to end a relationship because someone else would flirt with me and I would catch myself liking it. That could come out the wrong way, and I'm going to be careful here in the way that I explain it, because it's not about cheating. I've never cheated. I never did anything like that. And I would be honest with my boyfriends. I'm like, this is a concern for me because this other guy was showing me attention and I liked it. And normally, like if I'm very happy in my relationship, I either brush off that attention or it makes me feel like, ugh, like I don't want anything to do with this. But when I catch myself being drawn to that, that's when I know there's an area of dissatisfaction in my relationship I need to be addressing. Thank God I've been with Andrew for 6 years now, and I've never had that happen because he is amazing and he's the best husband ever. And I'm serious. Like, I used to see people who would say like, oh, I have the best husband ever. And I was like, yeah, but like everyone has problems. Andrew's not perfect, but he's perfect for me. And if I settled on my last boyfriend, which everyone told me to do, I would be in a marriage right now thinking, what the hell was I thinking? So don't do that. Let's readjust so you can see Noli. Hi! That's my baby right here. I don't know if you can hear her grunting right now, but it's awesome. Hi. So sleepy. She sleeps like probably 21 hours a day. It's just hard for her to be awake, you know. Back to the idea of, do you have the same goals? I love those games that you just play when you're sitting in the car. Like, would you rather travel all the time or live in a really cool house? Would you rather have 6 kids or no kids and there's no in between? Those kind of things tell you so much about a person, and they're just fun games. And because of those kind of questions, my husband and I are really good at charades because I feel like we have a million inside jokes and we know what the other person is always thinking because we ask those like obnoxious questions. Play a would you rather. That's a great way to get to know someone. Maybe I should do a video on games to play with your significant other. If you guys think that would be fun, leave a comment in the comment box because I'll totally do that. So number 5 is when your relationship feels boring. Ask yourself, do you need to break up? I know that that's probably not what you want to do, because if you really wanted to do it, you may have already done it. Maybe you've wanted to do it and you haven't had the courage, like the client I was just talking about. If you guys are totally out of whack with your goals, your morals, and your interests, it is going to be an uphill battle for your entire relationship. The 5 most important aspects you need to be on the same page with your significant other about in order to have a lasting marriage. This is what the experts say. These 5 things: religion, politics, your view on kids, how much involvement you want your in-laws to have in your life, and money. If there's one of those things that even if you've been together 5 years and you're like, I don't know how they feel about in-laws, I would really recommend having that conversation sooner rather than later, because you don't want to wait until you're in a position where your husband's mom needs to move in with you and you're like, I'm not doing that, I'll put her in a home, and maybe your husband feels totally differently. Have those conversations now so that you can be in agreement. You don't have to have everything figured out right now as far as that goes, but just having a preliminary, like, let's dip our toe in this water kind of conversation. Hypothetically speaking, would we want our in-laws to live with us? Would we be willing to work an extra job to put them in a really nice home? Would we want to buy the house down the street and have them move in there where we can check on them? Those kind of conversations you don't want to be having once it's too late. You're going to have so many stressors at that point. The last thing you want to do is be on different pages with your spouse. So back to what I was saying, that I kind of got off course for a minute, but I feel like that stuff is all important stuff to take into consideration. Do you need to break up? If you feel like you need to break up, I'll do a totally different video on that, because I think there are compassionate ways to end relationships. Most people who are scared of breaking up with someone, unless it's an abusive relationship, are scared to break up because they don't want to hurt that person. Even if they're like, I'm totally done, I know for sure I don't want to make this work, they are terrified to ruin that other person's life. So there are compassionate ways to end the relationship. Nolly's back! So those are my 5 ways, and seems like I have a couple more videos to do. So if you want me to do them, or you have other ideas you want me to cover, I'm happy to do that. So leave those in the comments below. If you found this video helpful and you want more information, subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be putting out new videos every week on living your best life, mostly relating to relationships and money, and make sure to click like. Yeah, I think I covered everything. But have a great day, and whatever you guys are dealing with in your relationships, really wish you the best of luck. If you have any specific questions, you can always shoot me an email. I'll leave that information below, and you can always reach out to me on Instagram, which is My Life Coach Alyssa. Thanks, guys.